Welcome to Music Fusion Fridays here on KBVR. I'm Maya Holmes.
And I'm Brittany Wooten.
And we're the Blonde Bombshells.
Here to give you your weekly music news. Glass Candy, an indie electronica band that has origins in Portland, surprised their hometown on Tuesday with a night of pulsating sequences and dance in the fog-filled Holocene nightclub. According to Chris Young of OregonMusicNews.com, the band had just come back from Singapore and was stopping through after a long tour in Asia. To add to the deliciously dancey electronica, fellow bands Reporter and Soft Metals were also featured Tuesday night. If you missed out on that, you should definitely check out Glass Candy's free demo downloads online, as well as their first ever music video titled Feeling Without Touching. This should keep your ears satisfied until their new album drops sometime next year.
The Cascade Blues Association presented its 22nd annual Muddy Awards last Thursday night at the Melody Ballroom in Portland. Karen Lovely and Ty Curtis won 3 Muddies each during the event, with Lovely receiving the Duffy Bishop Female Vocalist Award, as well as Best Regional Act and Best Performance for her appearance at the Waterfront Blues Festival. Curtis won Best Contemporary Blues Act, the newly named Curtis Salgado Male Vocalist Award, and Best Northwest Recording for Cross That Line. According to OregonMusicNews.com, following the awards, Kevin Self led the Muddy All-Star Review Jam featuring Duffy Bishop, Karen Lovely, Jimmy Bott, Bill Rhodes, Dave Call, and Steve Caron, among others. Sounds like it was a great lineup.
If you're into country music, then the new Portland duo Lock, Stock, and Barrel may be up your alley. The duo is made up of Arkansas native Glenn Dutch and Texas native Ty Titus. Together, they just released their new self-produced CD, Time's Up, last Sunday at Music Millennium with an in-store performance. The pair met in the Marine Corps and hit it off after Titus, the contemplative ballad writer, was dared to write a country song by Dutch, the wild rock guitarist. The outcome of the dare is titled Big Red Dodge and will likely be Lock, Stock, and Barrel's first single off their new CD. According to Don Campbell of OregonLive.com, the single is garnering industry buzz and corporate sponsorship offers, which includes a forthcoming interview on Portland's KUPL radio on November 21st. Lock, Stock, and Barrel's sound, which they describe as red dirt country music, melds the fire of rock with the storytelling of country. And by sharing a Marine Corps work ethic and the pure joy of writing and performing, this newfound brotherhood will be storming some big musical beachheads in the days ahead.
On a sad note, it was just released that this Monday night, Berbati's Pan owner and co-founder Ted Papawiano passed away at the age of 56. According to Willamette Week, news of his death came just weeks after the club announced that it will stop hosting concerts starting next year. Papawiano immigrated from Berbati, a village near Argos, Greece, in the Peloponnesus when he was 12 years old, and was one of the principals who opened the Berbati restaurant along with his entire family in 1987. Besides his mother and siblings, he is survived by his 3 children, 2 granddaughters, and a 3rd grandchild due in about a month. Details of a funeral service are coming soon. As requested by the family, remembrances can be made to the address below. Mr. Papawiano was an influential member of the Portland music scene, and he will be missed.
Every other Monday starting November 15th, grab your synthesizer and head to Backspace in downtown Portland, where they will be holding a battery-powered jam sesh. According to OregonMusicNews.com, it starts at 8 p.m. every week and will include open mixer sessions to invite improvisation and collaboration. Certain nights will feature solo artists, small ensembles, and touring artists, inspired by Conversations' late-night jam sessions and months of headphone composition and production. Jesse Garcia, Elias Foley, and an evolving cast of engineers, players, technicians, and producers took these ideas and have been expanding them, with goals of supporting upcoming independent producers in an atmosphere of experimentation and co-creation. These visionaries want to use their newest innovation to encourage production of electronic music using affordable, battery-powered instruments. So if you want to learn about the music style that is chiptune, check out Backspace starting Monday night.
Last Saturday, Portland's Wonder Ballroom was host to Yard Dogs Roadshow with special guests Ila Bamba and Ashia Grezasik of Vagabond Opera. Yard Dogs Roadshow described themselves as a hobo cabaret as they fused the classical influences of vaudeville with the pulse of rock and roll in their musical circus. The group is made up of 13 cast members who combine burlesque, sword swallowing, and musical magic. According to OregonMusicNews.com, Yard Dogs Roadshow began in California in 1998 as the Traveling Jug Band. The show's steady success on the West Coast has since paved the way to tours across the United States and Europe. The group has performed at several notable festivals such as Glastonbury, Rothbury, Bonnaroo, Outside Lands, San Diego Street Scene, and many more. Most recently, the Yard Dogs Roadshow was invited to perform with internationally renowned bassist Les Claypool on his Oddity Fair tour. I'm sure the performance at the ballroom was definitely a must-see musical and circus extravaganza.
Corvallis-grown Alex Hargreaves is not living the life of a typical 18-year-old. According to Tyler Hansen of the Gazette-Times, the nationally renowned fiddler is currently attending an elite jazz institute in Boston and playing marquee venues along the East Coast. Alex hasn't let the national spotlight get to his head and instead continues to work on owning his craft. He'll be featured this month on an episode of Austin City Limits on OPB. The tape show features Hargreaves playing alongside Grammy-nominated bluegrass singer Sarah Jarosz, and it will air locally at 11 p.m. tonight and again at noon on Friday, November 19th. If Alex's talents aren't enough to entice you to watch the show, the first half of the episode features comedian Steve Martin playing the banjo with his bluegrass band. And you don't want to miss that.
Corvallis residents Drew Robertson and Cloud Davidson have been hard at work on creating a benefit concert for the Mid-Valley community. The duo were finally able to show the results of their endeavors by bringing the local jazz group Fifth and B to the Cloud 9 Bistro in Corvallis last Saturday. Benefits from the concert were put towards the Albany Brass Ring Carousel and Historic Museum, which is made up of volunteers and is dedicated to building a traditional Victorian carousel in Albany's historical downtown district. The project is expected to be completed in 2014. According to Tyler Hansen of Gazette-Times, the band was so inspired by the carousel theme that they composed 3 original pieces for the concert. The musical repertoire of Fifth and B includes the trumpet, flugelhorn, reeds, saxophone, clarinet, American Indian flutes, and a variety of percussion instruments. 4 of the 8 members of the band are in the quartet Sideways Portal, and many of the members of Fifth and B have played together in various ensembles for decades.
As charity events go, you're not likely to find one as clamorous as what Northeast Portland's All Drum Shop Rhythm Traders organized last Sunday. According to Robert Ham of OregonLive.com, the Oregon Big Beat is known as the largest gathering of drummers in the state. Their goal was to raise money for Mr. Holland's Opus Foundation, a nonprofit that works to bring musical instruments to schools. This first ever percussion party is an offshoot of the nationwide Big Beat event, which involved more than 1,200 drummers in 11 cities around the U.S. The highlight of the day was the actual Big Beat. For this, all willing drummers were encouraged to join Pink Martini member Brian Davis and players from 14 other cities who were linked in via video conference in an attempt to break the world record in mass drumming.
The Idaho indie band Built to Spill played in Bend at Faux Boys this Wednesday as part of their Northwest tour. The band performed in Boise in the early 90s, and since then their frontman Doug Marsh has become indie rock's foremost guitarist. Built to Spill has also 2 other guitarists, Brett Netson and Jim Roth. According to Mike Bookey of The Source Weekly, the band released its latest full-length record, There Is No Enemy, about a year ago, and has been playing in short tours in support of their album ever since. Since the band broke out with the single Dystopian Dream Girl, Built to Spill has produced their albums with 5 years passing between 2001's Ancient Melodies of the Future and the well-received You in Reverse. In the meantime, March stays busy playing DJ gigs at clubs after Built to Spill shows, and this summer, along with bassist Brett Nelson, released the electric anthology Project. Be sure to hear Built to Spill as they continue with their great Northwest tour.
According to Ernest Jasmine of the News Tribune, Pearl Jam plans to release a new live collection to celebrate their 12th anniversary. The CD, titled Live on 10 Legs, features 18 songs that were recorded on the road by sound engineer John Burton between 2003 and 2010 and remixed by longtime engineer Brett Eliason. From the listing so far, it will include many of their hits, including Jeremy and Alive. The album will be released through Pearl Jam's 10 Club and select digital and independent music retailers on July 18th of next year. Plus, a 10 Club pre-sale of the CD and vinyl versions began on November 4th on the band's website, so be sure to check it out at www.pearljam.com.
It has recently been reported by the Seattle Times that the Seattle Symphony has named Simon Woods as its new executive director. Woods will step down as the chief executive of the Royal Scottish National Orchestra to start working with the Seattle Symphony on the immediate basis and will become full-time executive director in May of 2011. Through his work with the National Royal Scottish Orchestra, Woods has achieved considerable success in the areas of artistic leadership, fundraising, marketing, public relations, and education and community engagement. Woods, who is British, is also a member of the board of directors of the Association of British Orchestras. In joining the Seattle Symphony, Woods will replace interim executive director Mark McCampbell, who served in the position from February to October of 2010. According to James Bash of OregonMusicNews.com, Woods and his wife Karen Brooks will soon relocate to Seattle along with their son and daughter.
Marnie Stern recently visited Mississippi Studios in Portland to talk about her new self-titled album. The album is definitely the New York guitarist's most intimate one yet. According to Gabe Vodka of the Portland Mercury, on the surface, it's another album of wildly manic rock decorated with Stern's bright, caterwauling vocals. But something else lurks just beneath. The lead track, titled For Ash, is explosive and elated, but anchored by tragedy. The subject, Ash, was a troubled former flame who took his own life. Stern herself also has some words about the track, saying, quote, "I think that's the best song I've done. When someone dies, it's not really about you anymore, and I want to do something for him to celebrate him," end quote. Stern is a bit unsure about what people will think of her personal life etched throughout the collection. Either way, you have to admire her honesty.
If you've seen the HBO show How to Make It in America, then you've heard the intro song I Need a Dollar. The song comes from R&B artist Aloe Blacc off his new album Good Things. He recently stopped by the Mississippi Studios in Portland. Blacc had been touring extensively through Europe on his most successful tour date. Good Things is the best recording in the 15 years of his music career. Blacc was born to Panamanian parents and raised in Orange County, California. According to Ezra Ace Karef of the Portland Mercury, Aloe began to sing for Emanon in the mid-90s and eventually moved on to a Swiss Army roll career of hip-hop, R&B, electro, and a mix of everything else. His passion, however, is for soul music. His album Good Things includes references to the downward spiral of the working class, attempts to right past wrongs, and also the journey to find peace. The artist is definitely worth checking out, and I think you'll really enjoy his music that he calls, quote, very simple, very approachable, and very folk.
Well, that's all for now. Stay tuned for Locals Live and more music videos.
See you next week!